where it goes down, where you hear about the sports all around town. In the country, full of controversy to the highlights. You just not safe in the limelight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another great episode of The Stoop, where we talk hoops, and more hoops. We got a great one for you today. But before I get started, I also got to shout out my folks at Nuts and Bolts Sports. We love y'all over there. Thank y'all for so much for what y'all do for us. Got to shout out my partner, Kev. What's going on, Kev?
It's a pleasure to be here, as always.
Hey, listen, Kev. Y'all see the hat. You see where we're going with this today. It's real, real special. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching The Stoop today, we're talking about an parade All-American. We're talking about the 89 Gatorade Player of the Year. We're talking about New York City's Player of the Year. USA Today's Player of the Year. Held the all-time scoring championship title thing as Mr. Basketball New York City, over 2,500 point score. It was 2,621 to be exact. I did my homework, y'all.
Wow.
Listen, he went on to be a 16-year NBA vet professional. Now he's coaching. The 91 draft, he was selected number 2 overall. Ladies and gentlemen, sitting down on the stoop today is Mr. Kenny Anderson. Let's give it up for him, y'all, please.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Most
Really appreciate it.
Hey, so Mr. Anderson, we're going to get on too, because I know you got a lot of things to do, but we appreciate you today. So when did you get introduced to the game of basketball?
Well, my sister Danielle, about 6 years old, she used to babysit me. So she used to take me to the park, Jamaica Park, IS8, right in IS8 Park, and I used to just dribble the ball and throw the ball up. I was too small, but I used to cry if they took the basketball away from me. And she saw that, and it just was a God-given talent that I received, just wanting to play ball all the time. And my sister Danielle, who babysitted me, throughout my life, and I always wanted to play ball, man. I just used to watch the big guys play. I used to sit on the side of the court and watch those guys play, just watch. And in South Jamaica, IS8.
Okay.
And then when I got 9 years old, I moved to Left Rack, 1979, Left Rack, and I just took off from there. I met Vincent Smith, Kenny Smith, older brother, who mentored me. And I watched, and I used to go up to his house and see all his trophies. And I said, man, I want those trophies. And he said, just you got to do well in school. And I did well. I went to Malloy, and things just took off for me, man. I really don't know. It just took off for me, and I just thank God. It took off. I did all the right things. I didn't, I stopped hanging with some of my good friends. That they were good friends, but they wasn't for my best interest. They wasn't for my best interest.
Okay. So at what age, you saying, I know we're going to talk about your sister a little later, and some of them older dudes at the Left Rack, Kenny Anderson, Fisher Court. Yeah, I know about that too. But at what age did you figure out, man, I can actually do something with this game real quick?
About 14.
14? Okay.
14 years old. That's when I played. I was, at Archbishop Malloy High School. I was coached by Jack Curran, the legendary Jack Curran, and Vincent Smith, and I wasn't going to play varsity my first year. I was fine, playing freshman ball my freshman year and going for, but Vincent was like, hey, if why don't you try out? And I tried out, and I was better than everybody. And Coach Curran saw that, and he brought me in the office. He said, listen, you'll make the team because you're good enough, but you can't. I just get emotional talking about my high school, man. I'm sorry.
No, you are
good, man.
Take your time.
He said, you're a freshman. You won't be able to start, whatever. But I'll bring you off the bench and you can play. And I was thrilled. I was thrilled. So I remember coming home, telling him, hey man, I made the varsity team. I was so excited. I was a freshman.
Wow.
And he said, you're not gonna start. You're gonna come off the bench. You're gonna play second quarter. I don't know. Second
Yeah.
quarter. Second quarter, I came in. I never played the first quarter.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that,
yeah,
Mr. Anderson, because
yeah.
I read that you never played your whole freshman year, the
Yeah.
first quarter, and
No.
yet and still you set the New York City scoring record. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. I
So that is a
probably would
true
have had
story.
more. And then we talked about that, me and Vince. I probably would have had more points, and it wouldn't have been broken.
Right, probably, yeah. I believe Sebastian Telfair broke it,
Yeah,
correct?
he broke my record. I'm not
Bashi broke
sure, but he broke my record.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bashi broke it in 2004. He broke it.
But yeah, he broke it. But it was great. And last week, Greg Tracy, who was a senior, I sent him a happy birthday ball. He was a senior at Malloy. He lives in New York. I sent him a ball, letting him know I'm thinking about him. Happy birthday. And it was great, man. And it was like 2 weeks ago I sent him a ball. His birthday.
That's great. I'm glad you
So
keep in touch.
it was just like my high school career. Everything was set up for me not to fail. Not to fail. I went to Archbishop Malloy High School, played there for 4 years. But like I was telling my wife, it set me up academically. I had to do well, or I was going to summer school every year. It set me up. It set me up lovely. And
Okay.
I'm so glad that I listened to Vincent Smith and Kenny Smith. That's somebody I look up to now. He went to Malloy. He played in the NBA for many years. Played with the Houston Rockets. Got 2 rings. Kenny Smith. So I just thank God, man, for my upbringing and which way I went, because I could have easily went right.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Anderson, real quick. Talking about Archbishop Malloy, like the prominence in knowing the history of basketball, Archbishop Malloy, the coaches, everything that went there. You came onto the scene as a freshman, young kid, hooping. Now, you said so many different things in terms of records and All-American this and that. Question for you. Did you go into there with those goals set, or you just hooped? Which one was it?
I didn't go in there with goals set.
Okay.
I just went in there as a high school kid.
Got you.
And when I talk about my high school, it set me up for my whole life. So I get a little emotional about my high school, Archbishop Malloy High School, and it was in Briarwood, so it's like about 15, 20 minutes from Left Rack. So I went to high school, and it was white, black, Chinese area, and then I went back home at night with all black people, all my black people. So it was crazy. With the racist going on now, I didn't see it. I really didn't see it. I lived in New York.
That's part of the beauty of living in New York. I mean, it's there. Not to say it doesn't exist, but it's such a melting pot that it's not as elaborate as we see it everywhere else.
Yes, and that's so Malloy meant the world to me. It really helped me dictate everything that's going on in my life now that I see. And I played, man. And once I played my freshman year, it was sophomore, boom, I was on. Basketball, Coach Curran, his system was tight. You worked on your game. You had to. You worked on your basketball game. But the main thing is you had to work on your school life, the academics, or you wouldn't survive in Malloy. You get kicked out. And that was one of the toughest situations I was in. Going to Malloy, the Regents exams, I passed them. It was just a hard fought education that I had.
But you had that structure though.
And that's what I had, the structure in my life. For 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So and that set me up for going to college. My first year in college was simple because my academics was strong.
You had that foundation already, so everything just kind of laid right out.
Yep, definitely.
It's a beautiful thing. I would like to go into something really quick. You mentioned Kenny and Vincent Smith. He came up behind Kenny Smith.
Yeah.
And his brother Vincent is an unsung hero as far as I'm concerned with what he's done for you. He's had a hand in the development of a few other NBA players, such as yourself, Lamar Odom, Ron Artest, and a few others. Share with us how all of that developed and your relationship with him and some of those other guys that maybe have come down the line later.
With me, I think I had moved to Left Rack. I was like 9 years old. I moved, and I used to see him. The Lost Battalion Hall was our winter when I was a winter gym. I used to go to the gym and play basketball in my free time, and I used to see him work out a lot of kids. And I used to just sit on the side, and I was big headed back then. 9, 10, I was big headed, and I used to just sit on the ball and watch him work out the kids. And I ask him. I used to ask him many questions, of why he doing this and doing. I was just young, man, 10, 11 years old, just young. And he would tell me we worked out a few times, and that wasn't it. That wasn't it for me. I was just like, man, working out, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, right. But just 12, 13 years old, I started getting it a little bit, the education part of it, and I think Kenny Smith, by watching him grow and seeing what he was doing, I was like, why is this guy coming to the gym, working out like this and doing this? And I just used to watch, sit there, and I observe him, and I said, and read, and I used to read up on him, and he was going, I'm like, this guy is doing this and doing that. And it all came to me like, that's why he's working out. So I started doing the same thing. And, I started doing the same thing. He would come to the gym, work out, and I just wanted it. I wanted it then. But like I said, when I went to Malloy, I was a freshman. I was just like, I just wanted to follow in his footsteps. And I just happened to play well.
It seems like the stars just kind of aligned for you because you got Kenny Smith coming up before you and using him as a muse, basically. Yeah. And then after that, you got the structure in Malloy. Yeah. So now we talk about when we leave from there. And before I even get into it, Syracuse guy. I went to Syracuse. I love my orange man.
That's
and
great.
I know you went to GT.
I went to GT.
But there's a rumor that you almost ended up going to Syracuse where your freshman year, you would have ended up teaming up with what ended up being your teammate in Derek Coleman. Any truth to that you were going to Syracuse, and how did that decision end up that you go to Georgetown instead?
Oh, I was on my way to Syracuse, I thought, but my mother was like, nah. I thought I was on my way to Syracuse, but my mother went on my visit with me to Georgia Tech, and I really believe it's just about the head coaches. Coach Crimmins coming from the Bronx, he related with my mother. And Jim Boeheim's a great coach, great man, great coach, but just two different, outgoing, two different men, and he just didn't handle my mother well. And, I don't know to this day, I don't know if my mother got paid. She probably got paid for me going to Syracuse. Oh, excuse me, me going to Georgia Tech. I don't care no more, but you know that. Right.
So
well, we can talk about it many years ago.
You ain't got to worry about that no more.
Statute limitation is up on that.
It's gone now. It's gone now. It's gone. But but my mother had a great relationship with Coach Crimmins, and when I left the visit, we left the visit. I went to Syracuse by myself. I had a great time up in Syracuse.
Who showed you around? Just out of curiosity, who showed you around?
Billy Owens,
Derek Coleman, Billy. Billy Owens was there. We would have had a crew. Mm-hmm. Billy Owens, Derek. They showed me around. It was great, man. It was awesome. I was loving it. So I was gonna go to Syracuse. My mom was like, I'm gonna go to Syracuse. Don't even worry about it. And all my guys knew, Vincent Smith, everybody knew. But then my mother came and was like, no, you're going to Georgia Tech. No questions. No questions asked. But Georgia Tech, I went on the visit, and that visit was great. Okay. That visit was great.
Well, it worked out for you anyway, man. You did a lot of great things down there.
Yeah, great things.
We're going to get to that later.
Yeah, great things in Atlanta. It was awesome, man. It was awesome, but my mother, really led me to Georgia Tech, and with Coach Crimmins. I love playing at Tech. It means the world of me playing under Coach Crimmins. And then I went there, and I really, my first day of practice there, I tell everybody, I was like, I don't know if I made the right decision because we was playing. I just didn't see it. but then we just started clicking. We started clicking, and boom, we went to the Final Four my first year. So it was just awesome, man. With Dennis Scott, Brian Oliver, Malcolm Mackey. When I chose to go to Georgia Tech, we started getting everyone in. Then everybody started. We had the #1 class that year, and it was awesome. But Syracuse is a great school, and they had great players there. Derek Coleman, Carmelo Anthony, everybody. This is a great school. Pearl, my idol.
Pearl Wash.
One of my idols, Pearl Washington, went there. So I was like next in line, I thought. You know what I'm saying? And boom. But Georgia Tech was my school, and it really paid off for me.
Hey, Mr. Anderson, can we talk more about that real quick? Check this out. Ready?
Yeah.
Everybody in the league talks about the big three, and everybody talk about dynamic duels like you have now. You had a big three in college.
Yeah, we did.
Not only that, like y'all had a nickname. Y'all was called Lethal Weapon 3, man. So listen, I know you played for the great Coach Bobby Cremins. I had a question for you.
Yeah.
This is the fact that you were a New York City point guard.
Yeah.
Did he just let you go? Or was your greatness surrounded by the players that you were? You talked about 3D, you talk about B. Oliver. Was it the fact that you just had great shooting wings, or did Bobby Cremins just really let you go and do your thing?
He let me go and do my thing, and as the season progressed, I ran the team kind of. I ran the team, and pick and rolls, and all sorts on the wing, the top, pick and rolls with Dennis Scott, and then I get Brian coming off the screen. Yep. It was just my show, but I ran it. I ran it like it was my show, but I ran it clever. Everybody touched the ball, everybody got a look. And we just was a very good team, not only a basketball team on the court, but off the court. We meshed very well my freshman year, and we talk to this day. All the guys, we get together and we talk, about life, and that's a great thing. We've all lost, certain people in our families, and we've all, we keep it tight, man, and it's great. It's a great feeling that you got your college guys, somebody you did work with, and we went to the Final Four and everything like that to be in your corner. To be in your corner is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, listen, you took Georgia Tech to back-to-back NCAA appearances as a freshman and a sophomore.
Yeah.
Final Four. And I mean, listen, y'all lost to a stout UNLV team that won the chip with Larry Johnson and all those guys. But listen, for all the greatness that you had and all the guys that surrounded you, let's talk about your prominence before you even got to Georgia Tech, being a Queens guy. Take us back to June 29th, 1991 in Felt Theater, coming from Queens, what that felt like being inside of there and getting your name called, and then also being a part of the legacy of just Queens. I remember growing up in Queens, spending the summers there with my mother and my aunt.
Yeah.
And my first Queens shirt with the 7 on it. I don't know if you remember the iconic Queens shirts. And you turn them around, and all the prominent people from Queens is on there, and your names is on there. So let's talk about those two things. The first time you heard your name called as you got selected, and being an icon coming from Queens.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. Being an icon coming from Queens and being the draft, being in the city, it was just great. I remember that night, I knew, I went to visit Sacramento. They had the 3rd pick. So they said they were going to pick me. Hands down, they said they was going to pick me. But I didn't know anything about New Jersey Nets. I didn't know they was going to pick me. And when my name was called, it was crazy. The whole guard, everybody got up, cheered. When I heard, I was like, wow. I walked up, I walked out and, to number 7 New Jersey Nets. Willis Reed was out there. It was just a great feeling that I made it, through all everything. I made it to the NBA. So it was monster, man. It was a great feeling to be announced. My mother was there. It was just crazy, man. It was crazy.
The whole situation was surreal, especially
it was
from New York, and then you're right over the river. You're right close.
Yeah.
I'm sure
it was great. Yeah, it was.
So now I want to move up real quick. Your rookie year, you're in New Jersey, as you said.
Yeah.
The previous year's rookie of the year in Derek Coleman.
Yeah.
And then the previously underutilized shooter in Drazen Petrovic.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, Bill Fitch didn't play you much.
Yeah. Well,
However, I'm sorry?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll
But
let you finish.
the following year, you got the legendary Chuck Daly, rest in peace. And you got a big bump in playing time.
Yeah.
You guys became a big three, as TJ kind of alluded to in college, but now you have it in the pros. Before that was a big thing. You made a lot of noise. I'm sure there was a lot of fun. Talk on that.
Oh, well, my first year, I held out, wanted to get more money. And then, Bill Fitch just didn't, he didn't play a lot of rookies. That's just was his calling. So he didn't play me at all. I played. Mookie Blaylock got injured, and he had to put me in, and I did extremely well. I was like, man, I could play. I started working out on my game, everything. And the number one thing, Vincent Smith has said, just shut your mouth, man. Just come to work. Shut up. Come to work. You got a 5-year contract. You don't need no this, that, the other. Just do what you're asked to do, and just do it. And I did it all year. All year was great. And then the next year, Chuck Daly came in, and he gave me the ball. He said, "Yo, it's your show. You really gotta, put up or shut up." You know what I'm saying? And I really performed extremely well. And Derek Coleman, Drazen Petrovic, it was great playing with those guys. Awesome.
Right.
Chris Morris.
Yeah. We had a crew, man.
Yes,
we had a crew, but I always say this: the East was a crew with Michael Jordan, Cleveland with Mark Price, Brad Daugherty, Knicks with Oakley, Ewing, Orlando with Shaq and Penny Hardaway. It was tough.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah, it was a lot going on.
You got Reggie in Indiana.
Indiana. Yeah, it was tough.
Boston still kind of had some people.
Yeah, it was tough.
So we talked about Drazen really quick.
Yeah.
He passed in the summer of '93. We know about that fateful car crash.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was felt in that locker room.
Yeah.
Competitive spirit is well known as well. I've heard several stories about him kind of jawing back at Mike, which was something that was kind of taboo at the time. People didn't really know. But share with us a story about Drazen that most people probably wouldn't know.
Well, so I'm gonna tell one. So his underarm used to stink, man. So he used to give it to you.
Actually, I heard that was part of his gimmick.
That's what I thought. That's what he used to say. So he used to, he could flat out shoot the ball, man. Mm-hmm. And it was just crazy. Come off the screens and boom, he could flat out shoot. But one thing I got from playing with Drazen Petrovic is work ethic. I seen how he worked. We come in and we have practice. He'll be working out an hour before practice even started, be drenched. Then he go back in and then he have practice. I said, wow. And that's one of the reasons, I saw, and I got, I got good with that, practicing, before practice, and working on your game, working on your things that you can't do and things of that nature through Drazen Petrovic. He was a workaholic, man. He worked extremely. He wanted to belong. And when he was over in Portland, he didn't play that much, and he came over, and he really wanted to play well, and he did. And that's what's so sad with the car crash, because he was about to get paid. Yeah. He was about to get paid.
Hey, Mr. Anderson, people don't even know when he was balling with Croatia and Tony Kukoc and all them. Like, that European team, busy.
Yeah, he was they had Tony Kukoc, Vlade Divac, Drazen. They had a crew. Yeah. And they played our Olympic team that year with Jordan and all of them. They got blown out, but they competed.
Yeah.
The season after Drazen's death, clearly you took a lot of that work ethic and you made something of it because you bounced back and made the All-Star team. Yeah. How driven were you to succeed not only individually but as a team after his passing?
I wanted to do well, not for him but just for the organization, and me and Derek Coleman, we made the All-Star team, so it was great for the city of New Jersey and everything like that. So we just came out. We played extremely well. We had a good nucleus. Myself, Derek Coleman, Chris Morris. We just had a good team, and we follow instructions very well. And I think that when you get older in the league, you have to you learn that. you all skilled, but how are you going to win games?
Right.
And we won games because we had one of the best forward in the game, Derek Coleman, and one of the best elite young point guards coming up, Kenny Anderson. So we made it. We made it that way.
Absolutely.
Most definitely. Hey, Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
I'm thinking like after you left Jersey, they kind of like tried to lose sight of you, but you were still doing your thing. People don't understand you average over 14 or 15, 10 years into your career and over 5 or 6 dimes.
Yeah.
You had a stint with Portland where you gave work, and then your years with Boston, you gave work. In 99 and 2000, you shot the highest percentage in your career with the 3-ball. Let's talk about, in terms of your competitiveness and how you went hard, do you think you had better stints in Jersey, even though you was an all-star, Portland, or your years in Boston? What would you say was the most competitive years for you?
Those 3 teams, they get most of my love, New Jersey, Boston, and Portland, because they made me become, a better basketball player. Not only a better basketball player, but just a better man. Made me understand the NBA a lot better. Portland, was great for me. I thought I would, I signed a big deal, a 7-year deal, and they turned it up and brought a new coach in, and that's when they got rid of me. But I played extremely well my first year with Rasheed Wallace, myself, Cliff Robinson, who just passed away. It was real, and J.R. Ryder, was with me. We was the 4th best team in the West.
Right.
I played extremely well there. I played well in Boston. Like you said, I played well in Boston and New Jersey. So those are the 3 teams that get most of my love, because that's 10 years. And then after my 10th year, 11th, 12th, I played 14 years in the league.
Right.
My mother passed. I was going to try to play a year. I was going to try out and then try to make it. But when she passed, I was done with basketball. I was done because she saw me play my whole life. So I was like, what more can I do?
Right.
Thank you. I want to thank God for letting my mother see everything I did. Now it's time to give back to the game that gave me so much. Let me put my hands on some of these young kids that's coming up and do it the right way, for them. And that's what I'm doing now here at Fisk University, just coaching them.
Let me ask you this. Back in 2011, Bleacher Report named you the 2nd most influential collegiate point guard of all time.
Well, I didn't even know that. Wow.
We do our homework here at the Stoop, so we do our research. Let's say this. The number 1 guy, you know him pretty well, too. Y'all had about 5 battles in y'all collegiate careers. And in 2015, y'all got together and y'all took some pictures where he was out there, I think, at ASU. Let's talk about your epic battles when you played, because it was like a New Jersey, New York thing.
Yeah.
And it was talked about how y'all would jaw back and forth with each other, say little slick things back and forth. And I got one thing I want to point out to you.